I have to say, I don't know if Taylor needs to hear this, but I feel like Mel needs to hear that she is a damn good doctor. And
I
I think that more people need a Mel by their side for treatment than maybe any of the other doctors that are on the pit.
think you Mel absolutely needs to hear that all the time. And
I mean, she just lit up when Langdon told her, that she was a good doctor and that she taught him something. And maybe the inner Taylor, maybe certainly inner Mel was flipping out at that moment, and Jamie was flipping out for both of you.
I thought that was such a sweet moment too, especially for Langdon, who doesn't have the same relationship with anyone else.
I mean, he's a little adversarial with Santos. He's a little big brother to I'm gonna call him I'm gonna call him Dennis.
Yeah.
But everyone calls him Whitaker. But and I think he's like he could really be a mentor for Dr. King at this point. Um is this a turning point where she sort of sees that going forward?
Oh yeah, I think originally for Mel, like he would be instructing, and because Mel also is just little to no ego, just listen, like absorbing and listening to everything. And then I think, especially when he asked Mel to be with him with the heart attack with the STEMI, I think that was just the turning point of like, you asked for me, and yeah, we're we got our own amazing little relationship that's also I don't really see another like it's so unique. I really love it.
I happen to love Mel's relationship with her sister as well. We got to see a little glimpse of them FaceTiming. Will we get to see more of them interacting? They have such a deep bond together, and Mel is like this beautiful guardian angel. And she says we're best friends.
Yeah. Um, I know I know both of our parents are gone, and so I've Mel has been the sole caregiver for a lot longer than is hinted at in the show. And so it's been like all through med school, all through everything, just us two alone. And I think, especially with med school, which is, I've heard, very difficult, just to have someone like that there with you. And yes, I get to play with her again. Tall is amazing. And we were loose and we could improv some. It was really fun.
I love Mel's relationship with the dynamics between her and the other doctors as well. She doesn't really pick up on Santos's sarcasm, but I think Santos sort of gives her a pass too and doesn't heckle her as much as she does, Dennis or maybe, Javati. I think she sort of gives her a pass, maybe because they have a shared trauma bond. Is there something you guys discussed, maybe you and Issa or the writers?
I think it wasn't necessarily written or told, but I think we both saw like Issa's so good. And she had this quality that she was playing on and then I kind of picked up on and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a good idea," without talking about it. Of just the like realization that I'm not like anyone else there in a more positive way. I think even Santos thinks it's more positive. It's like I'm not gonna fight you ego wise. I'm not gonna try and get in there and do my thing or anything like that. And I don't see any, I think Mel doesn't see anything as a competition ever. So I think there's a kind of like, oh, I don't have to do this with you a little bit.
Yeah.
Like by nature, she's sarcastic and funny, but she doesn't have to feel territorial at all.
I have to say, those sweet moments between you and the elderly patient where her daughter has supposedly maybe abandoned her, it shows little cracks in Mel's facade as well, because Mel prides herself on being a good doctor, prides herself on being a good sister, but here's a moment that's come up where she can't be either of those things. She doesn't know what to do with this patient. And she's given advice to the daughter because she felt it was relatable to her. And I don't know whether she feels like she can trust Dr. Robbie's advice, or if she feels like she can just trust Kiara's advice, the social worker, or is she really, is still kicking herself over this moment?
I think Mel's just really freaked out that her own intuition could be so wrong. And especially as a doctor, emergency room doctor, when you have to think really fast, if you don't have a gut, that you can't do it. And I think the fear of not being capable of seeing things the way they are, which is again funny because Mel usually doesn't see things the way they are, but especially with patient care, I think it throws her for a loop for sure. Wondering if like, am I doing this right at all?
Well, my favorite Mel moment certainly is her mantra to get her out of her head and focused back on doctor mode. What was it like for you learning Megan the Stallion, and does she give you that empowering feeling that she was supposed to?
Oh, yeah, Mel for sure. Not Taylor as much, but yeah. I think yeah, it was really it's an odd bit because it changes so fast. Like as soon as the mantra's almost over, it's just like such a turntables thing of like, oh shit, big emergency. Okay.
See, we don't have time for
Yeah.
moments of us.
I can't even think about it. You have to just go into the next thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's funny.
There's so many special Mel moments. Is there one that really holds a special place in your heart, or maybe a scene that really stands out that you're most proud of the work you put into?
Oh, I'm so not the person to ask for that part. I think I think I've been talking about this actually all day for some reason, but episode 9 I think has a lot of great self-soothing moments. And also I feel like it's the time when I think Langdon sees Mel the most for exactly who she is, because he tasks her with a job that's so up her alley and calming. And I think that's the big cementing moment for me of like Mel and Langdon kind of getting each other for no reason. They really shouldn't get each other, but they kind of do. Yeah.
That's such a special, significant moment. And I'm sure many fans have been reaching out to you to tell you how special the scenes are with your sister, and seeing you interact with autistic patients as well is probably significant. And as I said, I wish there was more Dr. Kings in the world. The world needs more of those gentle, loving, sweet souls to give patient care.
Yeah. And I think it gets lost on doctors, not as much nurses, a lot, especially in emergency room when you have to go so fast. And thinking that you have to go so fast, for some reason they think it means you should push the bedside manner and the
Yep, Robbie's telling you to sit down.
yeah,
Robbie's.
that stuff is good. And but like the care, kind of having to push the care away, which you should never do because that's actually how you find stuff too. Yeah.
This is an exceptional role for you, Taylor. You are so good as Dr. King. I hope you know that. I hope you feel it in your heart. And when you maybe even watch the scenes, you're not as self-deprecating about the work you've put into it, but you see it's a special show, and the work you put into it just makes it even more special.
Thank you so much. That's so sweet.